I was the biggest loser at the academy, a total deadbeat when it came to channeling ether. So, of course, I ran into the single most terrifying person on campus while I was stuck serving detention in the hallway. Senior Cassandra Vance, the Ice Queen. She drew the shimmering blade she always carried, its tip aimed squarely at my chest, her eyes like chips of Arctic ice. Your uniform is a disgrace. You're coming with me to the Aegis Division. Now, my knees felt like jelly, but a soft, breathless voice suddenly echoed inside my head. Oh my God, oh my God. He looks so soft and sleepy right after a nap. I just want to drag him back to my place and use my little leather whip on him. No, wait. I want to buy him a caramel macchiato. I was so screwed. I could hear the Ice Queen's insanely thirsty thoughts. Jax Ryder, you useless waste of space. You slept through 2 whole periods of etheric fundamentals again. A sharp shout, punctuated by a stylus smacking me squarely on the forehead, jolted me awake. I wiped a bit of drool from the corner of my mouth and blinked up at the professor, whose beard was practically vibrating with rage. Around me, my classmates stared with the kind of disdain usually reserved for something you'd scrape off the bottom of your shoe. Professor Miller. I was up late studying, I said with a goofy grin, spinning a total lie. I was, practicing my control techniques in my dreams. Get out. Go stand in the hall and reflect on your failures. It felt like a pardon from the governor. I scrambled out of my seat and made a beeline for the door. Standing in the sleek, modern glass hallway of Obsidian Ridge Academy, I stretched languidly. I was a transmigrator, a soul from another world dropped into this parallel reality where supernatural abilities, ether, were real. I'd been here a year. The bad news. The guy whose body I'd inherited was an absolute joke, with a core affinity as chaotic and useless as a tangled ball of yarn. The good news. The nap I just woke up from seemed to have installed something new in my brain. Ding. Extreme slacker tendencies detected, a mechanical voice announced in my mind. The mind reader system has been forcibly bound to host. You can now hear the unfiltered thoughts of any target within a 30-foot radius, bypassing all mental defenses. Before I could even figure out what to do with this new superpower, the sharp, rhythmic click of tactical boots echoed from the end of the hall. Clack, clack, clack. Each sound landed like a hammer blow on the nerves, carrying a chilling, disciplinary aura. The other students who had been milling around the hallway froze like deer in headlights, their chatter instantly silenced. A moment later, they scattered in a panic. Crap, it's the Ice Queen. Run. It's Cassandra Vance, head of the Aegis Division. I heard she caught a guy peeking into the women's locker room last semester. They say she sliced off all his hair with one sword stroke. He's a monk now, or something. Cassandra Vance? My stomach dropped. There were 2 things you didn't mess with at Obsidian Ridge Academy. The cafeteria lady's portion control and Cassandra Vance's sword. This senior was exactly what her nickname implied, a walking, talking block of ancient, unmelting ice. She had the whole package, flawless skin, gorgeous face, leg for days, but she looked at everyone like they were something she was about to scrape off her boot. She was the star of every guy's fantasies and the main character in all their nightmares. I wanted to run, but my escape was cut off. A tall, imposing figure had already rounded the corner. She wore a form-fitting black tactical suit that traced a breathtaking S-curve down her body, a long, frost-colored blade hanging at her hip. Her jet-black hair was long and straight, falling freely over her shoulders. Her face was beautiful enough to stop traffic, but so cold it could give you frostbite. She walked straight toward me, her gaze as sharp as a scalpel, locking onto me instantly. I instinctively held my breath and pressed myself against the wall, chanting in my head, "Don't see me, don't see me." She stopped, standing right in front of me, her emotionless eyes drilling into mine. She radiated an aura so powerful it almost buckled my knees. Game over, I thought. Did I snore too loud during class? Is that against the code of conduct now? Cassandra's brow furrowed slightly as her right hand came to rest on the hilt of her sword. The students hiding and watching from a safe distance covered their eyes. They knew what was coming. This loser, Jax, was about to become a cautionary tale. I swallowed hard, ready to drop to my knees and beg for mercy. Suddenly, a soft, excited, almost trembling girlish voice flooded my ears without warning. Ah, it's him. It's Jax. A real live Jax. Oh my God, he's so cute and sleepy looking. That little tuft of hair sticking up. I want to pet it so bad. Help me. He's looking at me. His eyes. I'm in his eyes. Is my makeup okay? Is this lipstick too dark? He's so adorable pressed against the wall like that. I just want to drag him back to the Aegis Division and use my little leather whip on him. No, wait. I want to buy him a caramel macchiato. I blinked. I looked around in a panic. Who said that? Who's talking? Besides me and this beautiful Grim Reaper, there wasn't another soul. Not even a fly. Within 30 feet. My eyes snapped back to Cassandra. Her expression was still a mask of pure ice. Her gaze as cold and impersonal as if she were looking at a corpse. Her voice, when she spoke, was like the shattering of fine crystal. Jax Ryder. Uniform violation. Improper posture during disciplinary reflection. You will accompany me to the Aegis Division for formal punishment. But that other voice, the soft, breathless one, exploded in my head again, the words firing off like a machine gun. He finally found an excuse to take him with me. Just the two of us. I'll lock him in the interrogation room, and then I'll give him the special bento box I made for him. Say yes. Say yes. Don't look at me with those big, scared puppy eyes. You're making my heart explode. Ooh, his Adam's apple just moved. I want to bite it. I was completely frozen. I stared at the woman known as the Ice Queen, and then listened to the horny-on-main inner monologue of a fangirl. Was this for real? Was this the power of the system? This wasn't an Ice Queen. This was a closeted superfan who was down bad. Taking a deep breath, I decided to test the waters. Senior, do I really have to go? Cassandra's eyes narrowed. Her sword slid an inch from its sheath, the sliver of exposed steel glinting menacingly. Resisting the Aegis Division is an additional offense, punishable by immediate escalation. No, of course you have to go. If you don't go, how will anyone know I wore my new lace? Ahem, you have to come. Please, baby, just come with me. I promise I won't hurt you. I can't even stand the thought of raising my voice at you. I looked at the deadly glint of her blade, and then listened to the pathetic begging in her head. A playful smile touched my lips. All right, senior. I took a step closer, closing the distance until only a few inches separated us. I could smell the faint, cool scent coming off her like fresh snow. In that case, I'll be counting on you to discipline me properly. Boom. I literally heard the sound of a fuse blowing in her brain. Ah, he's flirting with me. He got closer. He smells like lavender fabric softener. I'm gonna pass out. My knees are weak. Can someone hold me up? On the surface, Cassandra remained as stoic as ever, but the tips of her ears, I noticed, were turning a shade of crimson that was spreading rapidly. Oof. Smooth talker, she grumbled, turning on her heel and walking away. Her stride was noticeably less steady than before. Gotta go. If I stay any longer, I'm gonna get a nosebleed. Cassandra, be cool. You are the Ice Queen. Maintain brand. Watching her slightly flustered retreat, I rubbed my chin. This mind-reading thing might just be more interesting than channeling ether. The Aegis Division interrogation room. It was dark, damp, and the walls were adorned with a variety of implements that looked like they'd hurt. A lot. I was placed in a specially designed interrogation chair. It wasn't restraining me, but the atmosphere alone was enough to make most students wet their pants. Cassandra sat across from me, one leg crossed over the other, her long legs sheathed in black tactical boots. She held a sleek, black baton, tapping it idly on the metal tabletop. Talp! 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 Do you understand what you did wrong? She asked, her voice cold. Is this angle good? Do my legs look fat? I should have touched on my makeup before we came in. Is this chair too hard? Is it hurting his butt? Should I get him a cushion? No, that would ruin the intimidating vibe. I fought back a laugh and put on my best terrified act. Senior, all I did was fall asleep in class. Isn't this a little extreme? Obsidian Ridge Academy is a sanctuary for the gifted. Wasting your time here is the greatest possible misuse of resources, Cassandra said, standing up. She walked over to me, using the tip of her baton to tilt my chin up. If everyone were like you, who would be left to defend our world? So righteous, so commanding. If you ignored the voice in her head, that is. Wow, his skin is so good. I can't even see his pores up close. His lips are so thin. I really want to kiss. No, Cassandra, focus. This is interrogation play. Interrogation. Come on, be meaner. All the hot guys like bad girls. Staring up into her impossibly beautiful face, the sheer contrast was making me itch with amusement. I decided to go for broke. You're right to lecture me, senior. My expression shifted, becoming deep and soulful as I locked my eyes on hers. Actually, the reason I fell asleep is that I was dreaming about someone last night. The baton in her hand paused. Ooh, it better not be that wannabe influencer from the class next door. If he says her name, I swear I'm assassinating her tonight. I sighed dramatically. I dreamed of a senior. She was very cold, very beautiful, carried a sword, and wore a black tactical suit. And in the dream, she was about to punish me. Cassandra's pupils contracted. Me? He dreamed about me? Oh my God, he's dreaming about me. This isn't a one-sided crush. It's destiny. Ah, and I was punishing him in the dream? Does that mean he's an M? Should I be even rougher with him from now on? On the outside, Cassandra took a deep breath, retracted the baton, and turned her back to me. Absurd. Regardless of your excuses, a rule was broken. She walked to a locker in the corner, opened it, and started rummaging around as if looking for a specific instrument of torture. I started to get genuinely nervous. Senior, what are you doing? Corporal punishment is against academy regulations. Cassandra turned around. In her hands were a container of washed, imported Rainier cherries and a bottle of ice-cold Coke. She slammed them down on the table in front of me with a loud thud. This is your punishment. Cassandra's face was a stony mask. Eat them. I stared. This is also a form of training, she said, spewing nonsense with a perfectly straight face. This is crimson core fruit, and that is shadow ether. Consuming them will cause extreme agony, thereby tempering your will. I looked at the carton of cherries, which still had a price sticker from Whole Foods on it, and fell into a deep, contemplative silence. Eat it, you idiot. I stood in line this morning to buy the most expensive cherries they had. They're super sweet. I made sure that Coke was perfectly chilled. You won't feel so hot after you drink it. I want to feed him one. Stifling a laugh, I popped a cherry into my mouth. The pain. It's excruciating. This crimson core fruit is truly potent. The corner of Cassandra's mouth twitched almost imperceptibly. He's so cute. He's actually playing along with me. Just then, the door to the interrogation room was shoved open. A guy in a flashy white suit with meticulously gelled hair strode in, holding a massive bouquet of roses. He stopped short when he saw the scene inside. Cassie? You're interrogating a suspect. The newcomer was Chadwick Sterling, one of the Academy's most notorious trust fund babies and Cassandra's #1 simp. Cassandra's expression, which had been secretly harboring a hint of warmth, instantly flash froze into a polar vortex. Chadwick, who gave you permission to enter? Get out. Chadwick didn't seem offended. He sauntered over with a smug grin. I heard you caught a troublemaker, so I came to see if I could help. Well, if it isn't the deadbeat, Jack's Ryder. Still haven't been expelled yet. He shot me a look of pure contempt before his eyes landed on the cherries. Cassie, you're too good to him. Why would you give cherries to a piece of trash like this? These should be for me, right? Chadwick reached for the container. I didn't move. Cassandra's baton was a blur. Crack. A bright red welt instantly appeared on the back of Chadwick's hand. Ow! He yelped, snatching his hand back. Cassie, you hit me? Cassandra glared at him, her ether flaring to life around her. The lights in the room flickered. These are my interrogation tools. Are you worthy of touching them? How dare you try to take my man's cherries? I'll chop your hand off. I bought those for Jax. You think you're worthy? You're not even fit to lick the dirt off his boots. Get out. Don't ruin our private time. You're disgusting. I sat in my chair, sipping my shadow ether, Coke, and watching the drama unfold. All I could think was, nice. Chadwick clutched his hand, his face a storm of anger and humiliation. He shot me a venomous look. Fine. Jack's Ryder, you just wait. Cassie, about my family's gala tonight, not going. Busy. Get lost. Cassandra's triple combo rejection blasted Chadwick out of the room. After the door slammed shut, she turned back to me, her previously fierce gaze now looking a bit evasive. Oh no, was I too harsh just now? Did I scare Jax? Does he think I'm some kind of violent psycho? My elegant, ladylike image is ruined. I put down the Coke, stood up, and walked over to her. Senior. WH what? Cassandra took half a step back, her body pressing against the cold, metal wall. I reached out and gently brushed away a stray strand of hair that had fallen across her cheek during the confrontation. The way you protected me just now. I leaned in close to her ear and whispered, was really cool. Kaboom! Cassandra felt a mushroom cloud detonate inside her brain. Her entire body went limp, and she slid down the wall into a crouch, burying her head in her knees. You can go. Punishment is over for today. Now, immediately, disappear. Her voice was a shout, but the trembling tremor at the end of it gave everything away. I shrugged, deciding to quit while I was ahead. Yes, Senior. See you tomorrow. I walked out of the interrogation room, humming a little tune. The moment the door closed, I heard a muffled, rolling on the floor sound from inside, followed by the full, unrestrained broadcast of her thoughts. I can't take it anymore. He called me cool. He touched my face. I'm never washing my face again. For the rest of my life. I want to have his babies. An entire football team of them. I glanced back at the heavy steel door, a wide smile on my face. This Ice Queen was something else. And this whole kept man thing wasn't so bad, was it? It was dark by the time I got back to the men's dorm. I was a well-known loner. My etheric potential was so pathetic that no one wanted to team up with me, and no one wanted a room with me. The upside was that I had a 4-person suite all to myself. It was a bit rundown, but the privacy was nice. I pushed open the door and froze. My room, which was usually a disaster zone, was now sparkling clean. The socks that littered the floor were gone. The mountain of instant noodle cups had vanished. My blanket was folded into a perfect square, and even the window, which hadn't been washed in years, was so clean it was reflective. The weirdest part? A faint, familiar, cool scent hung in the air. It was Cassandra's scent. What the hell? Did a cleaning fairy break in? Before I could process it, the bathroom door opened. A figure wrapped in a white bath towel emerged from a cloud of steam. Long, wet hair dripped water down a pale neck and disappeared into the tantalizing shadows below. Slender legs were on full display, the skin glowing like ivory in the lamplight. It was Cassandra. I instinctively covered my eyes, then immediately peeked through my fingers. Senior? What are you doing in my room? And, taking a shower. Cassandra, who was calmly toweling her hair, looked at me as if this was completely normal. Her expression was one of absolute authority. There have been reports of hostile infiltrators within the academy. To ensure student safety, the Aegis Division has decided to assign personal supervisors to certain high-risk individuals. She walked over and slapped a piece of paper with an official red stamp onto my chest. Given your low ether levels and your history of major disciplinary infractions, I have been assigned as your supervisor. Starting today, I'm living here. I held the paper, my hands shaking. What kind of tyrannical decree was this? This was a gross violation of my rights. This was the best damn thing that had ever happened to me. But, on the surface, I had to put up a little resistance. Senior, isn't this against the rules? We're not supposed to cohabitate, and this is the men's dorm. Special circumstances. Cassandra cut me off coldly. Do you have an objection? Or would you prefer to be supervised from a cell in the Aegis Division's dungeon? Say yes. I already moved all my stuff in. I argued with the dean for 3 hours to get this assignment. I tested the bed earlier. It's a little hard, but it smells like him. So comforting. Oh, is my towel wrapped too high? Should I pull it down just a little? No, that would be too obvious. Why is his nose bleeding? Is it because I'm just that hot? I quickly wiped my nose. No objections. Absolutely no objections. It is an honor to have you in my humble abode. Cassandra nodded, satisfied. She pointed to the only bed in the room. I'll sleep there. You can take the floor. I whined. Senior, that's my bed. Are you the one under supervision, or am I? She asked, raising an eyebrow. The bed is actually big enough for 2. We could squeeze. But I can't be too forward on the first day. Gotta take it slow. Stay strong, Cassandra. I sighed, accepting my fate. I pulled a spare, lumpy mattress from a closet and laid it on the floor. Night fell. In the dorm rooms of Obsidian Ridge Academy, countless lonely guys were probably weeping over pictures of Sasha Grey. Meanwhile, I was lying on the floor, listening to the steady breathing from the bed above and the nonstop, incredibly vivid inner monologue that accompanied it. Is he asleep? He must be asleep by now. I really want to go look at him. Just a quick peek won't hurt, right? I heard a soft rustling. I felt a head peek over the edge of the bed. Through slitted eyes, I saw Cassandra leaning over, her long hair cascading down. In the pale moonlight, her face, usually so cold and severe, was adorned with a goofy, love-struck smile. She held out her finger, tracing my profile in the air. His eyelashes are so long. I want to kiss his mouth so bad. He may be a loser to everyone else, but he's so handsome. 1,000 times more handsome than those so-called ether prodigies. I don't care what anyone else thinks of you. For the rest of my life, I, Cassandra Vance, am sticking with you. My heart skipped a beat. I always thought she was just a fangirl, that this was just a shallow crush. But the emotion in that thought, it was deeper than I could have imagined. It turned out that in this cold, brutal world of superpowered elites, someone was awkwardly, carefully, and genuinely in love with a nobody like me. You idiot, I cursed at her silently in my head. Suddenly, I didn't want to be a slacker anymore. If I was going to be a kept man, I should at least be worthy of it, right? System, I called out in my mind. Host is present. Besides reading minds, is there any way to get stronger? I want the fastest, most badass, most impressive way possible. Ding. Survival instinct, show-off instinct, has surged. Unlocking hidden function. Mind reader exchange shop. By collecting targets' emotional fluctuation values, intensity of inner thoughts, you can exchange them for power, techniques, and elixirs. Current affection value from Cassandra Vance toward host. 99.99 plus, off the charts. Congratulations, host. You have received the newbie starter pack. Umbral Devourer's Codex, Fragment, and 1 Core Purification Serum. I open my eyes in the darkness, a sharp glint in my gaze. Since my senior loves watching me show off so much. Then at the upcoming Nexus trials, I'll put on a real show for her. On the bed, Cassandra was lost in her fantasies. On the floor, Jax was already circulating the power of the Umbral Devourer's Codex. Outside, the moonlight was perfect. Inside, the atmosphere was spiritually charged. Obsidian Ridge Academy, the Crucible. Today was the qualification round for the Nexus trials. The entire academy was present, and the atmosphere was electric enough to set the air on fire. Of course, most of them were here to see a train wreck. Did you hear? That loser Jax Rider, the one who only knows how to sleep, actually signed up. What? Is he still dreaming? You have to sign a death waiver for this competition. He's probably just trying to impress Cassandra Vance. Pathetic. He doesn't even know his own limits. Below the main arena platform, Chadwick Sterling stood in a gaudy, gold-threaded suit of light armor, flanked by his usual cronies. He was looking at me with a sneer. Ryder, if you get on your knees and count out of me 3 times right now, I might consider leaving you with your underwear intact when I'm done with you. Chadwick laughed arrogantly. I stood on the platform, hands in my pockets, looking like I just rolled out of bed. But my eyes, which seemed lazy and unfocused, held a faint glint of power from circulating the Umbral Devourer's Codex. In the VIP seats overlooking the arena, Cassandra sat bolt upright. She maintained her usual unapproachable, icy demeanor, with no one daring to sit within 10 feet of her. But her hands are gripping the arms of her chair so tightly that her knuckles had turned white. That bastard Chadwick. How dare he provoke my Jax in public? If a single hair on Jax's head is harmed, I'm blowing up the Sterling family's mining operations. Don't be scared, honey. If you can't win, just give me a signal, and I'll jump down there and tear this whole arena apart. Ugh, he looks so hot with his hands in his pockets. That look of total disdain, like he's thinking, you are all beneath me. It's doing things to me. Listening to the violent, fangirling thoughts in my head, I couldn't help but smile. This wasn't an ice queen. She was a fiercely protective mama bear. Referee, can we get this started? I yawned. I have a nap to get back to. You're dead. Chadwick roared, his pride wounded. His ether exploded around him, the pressure of a Delta-grade adept washing over the arena. I'll cripple you in one move. Raging Tiger Strike. Chadwick became a blur of golden light, his fist screaming through the air, aimed straight for my face. The crowd gasped. Cassandra was already halfway out of her seat. But in my eyes, Chadwick's movements were as slow as a slug. More importantly, his thoughts were broadcasting like an open book. This loser definitely thinks I'm aiming for his head. But this is just a feint. The real killing blow is a leg sweep to shatter his kneecaps. I sneered internally. You outplayed my outplaying? Too bad I'm basically cheating. The instant Chadwick's fist was about to connect with my nose, I moved. Instead of retreating, I stepped forward, my body twisted at a bizarre angle. Not only dodging the punch, but also, as if I'd seen the future, lifting my right foot just enough to land perfectly on the back of Chadwick's knee, the very one he was about to use for his sweep. Have a nice trip. I gave him a gentle push. Thump! Chadwick, his center of gravity completely gone, went down face first. He slid across the platform like a curling stone and came to a perfect stop in a classic faceplant, right at Cassandra's feet. The entire arena went dead silent. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. One move? Without any detectable ether fluctuation, a Delta-grade adept like Chadwick had been taken out? A fluke. It has to be a fluke, someone yelled in disbelief. But I just dusted off my pants, looked up at Cassandra, and gave her a little wink. Senior, what did you think of that move? The graceful swan dive. Was my form good? Cassandra slowly sank back in her chair, her expression unreadable as she gave a curt nod. Acceptable. But beneath that cold exterior, her mind was a 4th of July fireworks show. Ah, that was so hot. He didn't just step on Chadwick, he stepped all over my heart. A fluke? That was pure skill. That was the effortless grace of a true master. He winked at me. That was a sign of his love. Was he trying to tell me, for you, my love, I could defeat the entire world? I can't. I just can't. He's getting extra chicken for dinner tonight. 2 extra pieces. Listening to the deafening roar of her thoughts, I had to suppress a laugh. Being a kept man was pretty sweet. And now, with my mind-reading ability combined with my new power, the seemingly impossible path of an adept was starting to feel more like a max-level player cruising through the tutorial zone. Night fell. Dorm 302. Ever since Cassandra had forcibly moved in, my room had become the most mysterious and forbidden place on campus. Right now, I was sitting at my desk, pretending to read a book, but in reality, I was clutching 2 wads of tissue, ready to plug my nose at a moment's notice. Because in the bathroom, the shower was running. The soundproofing in the academy dorms wasn't great, especially for adepts with enhanced senses. Every single drop of water hitting the tile sounded like it was landing directly on my last nerve. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was Cassandra's inner monologue, which was piercing through the frosted glass door without any trouble at all. Ooh, this body wash is so bubbly and smooth. Jax was sweating so much during the match today. The smell of his pheromones. Ugh, stop thinking about it. My face is so hot. Is this water a little too hot? It's making my skin all red. But if he were here, he'd probably like this pinkish color, right? What if the door suddenly broke and he rushed in? Should I scream? Or should I just let it happen? Cassandra, what are you thinking? You're shameless. But it's Jax. Drip. I quickly shoved the tissues up my nostrils. Who could handle this? It was like a full sensory, 3D, immersive auditory experience. This woman looked like an ice queen on the outside, but her imagination was more vivid than a fantasy novelist's. Senior, are you done in there? I asked, my voice a little hoarse. Almost her cool voice replied, followed immediately by her thoughts. He sounds impatient. Does he want to come in and join me? No, that's too fast. We have to at least hold hands first. The water shut off. I let out a breath of relief and was about to get a cold drink to cool down. Suddenly, a sharp "ah" came from the bathroom, followed by the sound of a heavy thud. Senior, without a second thought, I rushed to the bathroom door. Don't come in. Cassandra's voice was laced with panic and pain. Ow. I slipped. I think my butt just split into 4 pieces. This is so embarrassing. How can I let him see me like this? But it hurts so much I can't get up. It would be nice if he came in and carried me. That last line was all the permission I needed. Senior, forgive the intrusion. I shoved the door open. Through the lingering steam, I saw Cassandra crumpled on the floor. Her towel was hanging loosely, revealing a large expanse of snowy skin and her delicate collarbones. She was clutching her ankle, tears welling in the corners of her eyes, her face as red as a ripe tomato. When she saw me burst in, Cassandra froze completely. We stared at each other. He's in. He's really in. He saw me. He saw everything. Should I pretend to faint now? Or just throw myself into his arms? His eyes are so intense. Come on, don't be gentle with this delicate flower. Looking at the breathtaking scene before me, I could feel the tissues in my nose giving way. I took a deep breath, forced down the surge of heat in my chest, bent down, and swept Cassandra up into my arms. Don't move. The floor's cold. Cassandra instinctively burrowed into my chest, hiding her face like a frightened quail. Wow, a Princess Carrie. My life is complete. His chest is so hard. His heart is beating so fast. Is it because of me? This counts as skin-to-skin contact, right? Basically, we're married now. I had just stepped out of the bathroom with her when the dorm room door was kicked open. Jax, my man, I heard you were a total badass in the Crucible today. I brought pizza and beer to seal. Standing in the doorway was a short, stout kid holding 2 pizza boxes, his mouth hanging open wide enough to fit a light bulb. It was my one and only friend, Leo Porky Peterson. Leo took in the scene. The steamy room, the disheveled goddess Cassandra Vance blushing in my arms, and me with bloody tissues sticking out of my nose. The air froze for 3 solid seconds. Leo spun around, covered his eyes, and started backing out of the room while yelling, "I'm so sorry. I'll come back later. I saw nothing. You guys carry on, and use protection, Jax." Slam, the door shut. In my arms, Cassandra's body was burning up. I looked down at her and managed a weak smile. Senior, I don't think there's any explaining our way out of this one. Cassandra looked up, her normally cool eyes now shimmering with a watery, spring-like warmth. Explaining? Why would one do that? From now on, I'm never letting you go. Despite the bathroom incident, life went on. The next day, a new transfer student arrived at Obsidian Ridge Academy. Hi everyone, my name is Scarlett Monroe. I'm a new exchange student. I hope you'll all take good care of me. Standing at the front of the class, the girl wore a modified, shortened school uniform skirt, and her voice was sickly sweet. She had a face that was the epitome of innocent but sexy, especially her doe-like eyes, which seemed to flirt with everyone they landed on. Half the guys in the class were instantly captivated. Only I was frowning. The moment Scarlett walked in, I heard a voice that was anything but sweet. TCH. So, this is Obsidian Ridge? A bunch of pathetic weaklings. I heard there's a loser here with a body of supreme, primal essence. As soon as I drain his core, my Crimson Lotus Sutra will be perfected. Then I can drain every man in the world. Where is this Jack's rider? Let me get a sniff. What a delicious scent. A shiver went down my spine. The Order of the Crimson Lotus? Draining my essence? This wasn't a transfer student. She was a walking, talking human juicer. The bell rang, and Scarlet walked straight to my desk. Jax, she cooed, leaning over so her wide-open collar revealed a startling view. I'm new here and don't know anyone. Could I get your number? So I can ask you for help if I get lost. I could hear the sound of guys gulping all around me. Next to me, Leo's eyes were about to pop out of his head as he frantically signaled me. Go for it, man. Before I could say a word, a wave of intense cold washed over the classroom. Cassandra had appeared at the doorway. Still dressed in black, sword in hand, she walked in without a word. But I could have sworn I saw a thin layer of frost forming on the floor tiles beneath her feet. Where did this vixen come from? How dare she try to seduce my man? Are those boobs fake? They have to be fake. Mine are way more real. Smiling at Jax like that? You want me to stitch that smirk off your face with my sword? If Jax dares to give her his number, he's not sleeping in the bed tonight. He's not even getting the floor. Scarlet was clearly no pushover. She turned to face Cassandra, her sweet smile still in place, but with a new, challenging glint in her eyes. You must be Senior Cassandra. So scary. Not like me. I would only ever want what's best for Jax. Wow, a masterclass in manipulation. Cassandra's hand was already on the hilt of her sword. A bloodbath seemed imminent. Killing is against the rules. Killing is against the rules. I can't take it. For my man's chastity, I'm willing to go to jail. Just as the showdown was about to explode, I made my move. I completely ignored the phone Scarlet was holding out and instead reached for Cassandra, taking her cold hand and lacing my fingers through hers. Sorry about that, Scarlet, I said, looking at her with an earnest expression. I held up our joined hands for emphasis. My girlfriend is very strict. She raised me right. I'm not allowed to take numbers from strangers. Especially, I leaned in, lowering my voice so only the three of us could hear. Especially from bad girls who want to drain my primal essence. Scarlet's eyes widened. The sweet smile on her face froze and then shattered. How does he know? Was I exposed? Impossible. Cassandra, on the other hand, was completely stunned. She stared down at our intertwined hands, feeling the warmth from my palm spread through her. The murderous aura she had been emitting vanished into thin air. We were holding hands. In front of everyone. He called me his girlfriend? Does he see me as family? Who is Scarlet? Doesn't matter. In this moment, I've won everything. I pulled the now catatonic Cassandra out of the classroom, leaving Scarlet standing frozen in shock in a room full of heartbroken boys. In the hallway, Cassandra followed behind me, head down like a timid wife. Senior, I just did that to get you out of a tough spot. I started to explain. Cassandra suddenly looked up and tightened her grip on my hand. Don't explain. Her eyes met mine. As long as you don't let go, I'll believe it's real. Don't you ever let go. You're mine. Your soul is mine. I looked into her fierce, passionate eyes and smiled. Okay, I won't let go, but that succubus from the Crimson Lotus wouldn't give up so easily. It looked like my peaceful academy life was about to get a lot more complicated. To counter the potential threat from the Crimson Lotus, the academy opened a restricted training area in the back mountains for its top students, the Lunar Mirage Chamber. By a stroke of bad, or perhaps good, luck, Cassandra and I accidentally triggered a mechanism and fell into a separate sealed-off space bathed in a pinkish light. Something was wrong with this place. Very wrong. The air was thick with the scent of peach blossoms, a known aphrodisiac. And the walls were carved with detailed, explicit illustrations of dual cultivation techniques. This is the Mandarin Duck Union Array, a relic of the ancient order of the Crimson Lotus, Cassandra said, her face paling after reading an inscription on a stone tablet. A moment later, her ears turned beet red. This array can only be broken when yin and yang are in harmony. I swallowed hard. Senior, when you say yin and yang in harmony, you mean that in the non-literal sense, right? Cassandra turned her back to me, her voice trembling. It means exactly what you think it means. Oh my God, is this fate stepping in to help? Here? Now? It's a bit rustic, but if it's to break the array and save our lives, I guess we have no choice. Cassandra, are you ready? I don't have any practical experience, but my theoretical knowledge is off the charts. Should I pretend to resist a little first? Or should I just pounce on him? I saw Cassandra's hands moving to the buttons on her suit and nearly jumped out of my skin. Senior, cool it. Calm down. I rushed over and grabbed her hands. Is it possible that yin-yang harmony means syncing our ether, not our... You know. Cassandra froze, then turned back to me, her eyes a mixture of confusion and profound disappointment. Sinking. Our ether. Yeah, look at the instruction manual. I mean the tablet. There's a line of small text at the bottom. I pointed to the base of the stone. The two must sit with palms touching, their spirits linked, and circulate their power as one. Cassandra stared at the text, looking like she wanted to shatter the tablet with her sword. Who wrote these stupid instructions? Mind your own business. This is false advertising. I want my wedding night back. But, palms touching, spirits linked? Does that mean our souls will become one? Ahem. Fine. We'll do it your way, she said, trying to sound composed as she sat down cross-legged. We faced each other and pressed our forearms together. The moment Cassandra's vast, pure, ice-aspect ether flowed into my body, my umbral devourer's codex went into overdrive. Cold and heat intertwined. Ice and fire danced. There was no physical union, but the feeling of our ether mixing freely within our meridians was 100 times more intense than any physical touch. Cassandra's eyes were squeezed shut, her eyelashes trembling. What a strange feeling. It feels like something is inside me. It's so warm. This is Jax's essence flowing through my body. I can't hold it in. I'm going to make a sound. Listening to her incredibly misleading inner monologue, I had to fight to concentrate on guiding the ether flow. This was the ultimate test of willpower. Boom! With a deep thrum, the array shattered. At the same time, a powerful aura erupted from my body. Using Cassandra's immense ether reserves, I had broken through the bottleneck of my initial stage and stepped into the realm of a Delta-grade adept. Cassandra opened her eyes. Her face was flushed, her gaze hazy and unfocused as she looked at me. Jax, does this mean you have to take responsibility for me now? I don't care. Our ether is all mixed up. You're my man now. Looking at her completely dazed expression, I took a deep breath, leaned close to her ear, and whispered, Senior, your ether is very nourishing. After breaking through to Delta grade, my status at the academy skyrocketed. But my favorite pastime was still going to Cassandra's dorm to mooch off her food and company. One day, Cassandra was called to a meeting with the dean. I was wandering around her room alone. Idly, I noticed a thick pink-covered notebook tucked under her pillow. Training journal? I thought, curiously flipping it open. The first page wasn't filled with training techniques, but with a pencil sketch. It was a drawing of a boy sleeping at his desk, a bit of drool at the corner of his mouth, a single tuft of hair sticking up, rendered with loving detail. Below, it was a line of delicate handwriting. August 10th. The sun was perfect today. He was sleeping, and I was watching him. I wish I could have been a sunbeam, just to land on his lips. I stared. So cheesy, so dramatic. I turned the page. It was a drawing of me slurping down noodles in the cafeteria. He likes to add a lot of vinegar to his ramen. A cute, sour taste. When we get married, I'll make him sweet and sour pork every day. I kept flipping. A drawing of my one-kick takedown in the crucible. My man is so cool. I want to have his babies. I've even thought of names. A boy would be Jax Cashin, and a girl would be Cassandra Jean. Looking through this thick stalker's diary, I felt a strange mix of emotions. I was touched, amused, and deeply stunned. Just then, the door opened. Cassandra walked in, carrying a container of my favorite roast chicken. And then she saw the pink notebook in my hands. Clatter! The roast chicken fell to the floor. Time seemed to stop. Cassandra's face went from pale to red to a deep shade of purple, before settling on a blackish crimson that looked like it was about to spontaneously combust. That my diary, my life, my source of all shame. Ichi saw it. He saw everything. The things I wrote. I am going to die. Let me die. Or, I could kill him to silence him. Shing. Cassandra drew her sword. Her face was flushed, tears were welling in her eyes, and the tip of her blade was pointed at me. Her voice cracked. You didn't see anything, right? I closed the diary. Instead of backing away, I walked toward the sword. Senior, you've already picked out our kids' names? Cassandra's hand trembled, the sword nearly falling from her grasp. Shut up. Forget it. Forget everything. Or else you'll what? I suddenly sidestepped the blade, closed the distance in a single step, and pinned her against the wall. We were less than an inch apart. I looked into her panicked, wild eyes, and decided it was time to stop playing dumb. Senior, there's something I never told you. I lowered my head until our foreheads were touching. The truth is, from the very first day we met, I've been able to hear your thoughts. Cassandra's world tilted on its axis. Here, my thoughts. Does that mean all the times I called him my man, and wanted to have his babies, and want to tie him up? Ichi heard all of it. The sky was falling. This was worse than social suicide. This was social nuclear annihilation. Her knees gave out, and she started to slide down the wall. I caught her, wrapping an arm around her waist and pulling her tight against me. So, from now on, don't call me your man in your head, I said, a wicked grin spreading across my face. Just say out loud. I'd love to hear it. Cassandra's brain completely shut down. The only thing left was a two-word echo bouncing around her skull. My man. My man. My man. We barely had time to enjoy our new, unspoken relationship before crisis struck. That night, the skies above Obsidian Ridge Academy were lit with fire. The Order of the Crimson Lotus, allied with the disgruntled and vengeful Sterling family, had launched a coordinated assault, breaching the Academy's defensive barriers. Cassandra Vance, hand over Jax Ryder, and we'll let you live. Scarlet Monroe, dressed in a revealing red outfit, stood atop a massive demonic beast, backed by a horde of dark adepts. Chadwick Sterling was beside her, his face twisted in a hateful sneer as he brandished a powerful artifact. That loser Jax Ryder. I'm going to tear him limb from limb today. In front of the Aegis Division headquarters, Cassandra stood alone. She was covered in blood, her black tactical suit torn and ragged. With her sword in hand, she blocked the entrance to the quiet chamber where I was meditating. You want to touch him? Cassandra wiped a trickle of blood from her lips, her eyes wilder and more ferocious than ever before. You'll have to step over my dead body first. It hurts so much. My arm feels broken. My ether is almost gone. But I can't back down. I will not back down. Jax is in the middle of a breakthrough. Don't be afraid, my love. As long as I have a single breath left in my body, no one will ever touch you. Stubborn fool. Kill her, Scarlet commanded. Hundreds of streams of dark energy hurtled toward Cassandra. She closed her eyes, bracing for the end. But the pain she expected never came. A warm, solid back appeared in front of her. Boom! A golden barrier materialized from thin air, absorbing and completely neutralizing the entire onslaught. When the dust settled, Jax was standing there, one hand casually in his pocket, the other gently supporting Cassandra's swaying body. The aura he emitted was no longer that of a novice, nor even a Delta grade. It was vast, deep, and terrifyingly powerful. The Umbral Devourer's Codex allowed him to grow stronger through conflict, to devour the energy of his enemies. You idiot, I said, my heart aching as I looked at the wounds covering her body. Didn't we agree that I'd be the one protecting you from now on? Cassandra just stared at me, dumbfounded. He's here. He's so handsome. And so much stronger. I knew I picked the right one. He's my hero. I turned to face Scarlet and Chadwick. My normally lazy eyes were now glowing with the cold fury of a demon from the deepest hell. You too, I said, my voice dangerously calm, disturbed my girlfriend's sleep. Scarlet felt a terror she had never known. How can you have this kind of power? You're supposed to be a loser. A loser, I scoffed, slowly raising a hand. System, full power. Activate thought, devour mode. Since you all like to play dirty, let's see how you handle a taste of complete mental collapse. The fear, greed, and malice of every enemy adept on the field became a tangible form of energy, which I then forcibly ripped from their minds. My head. He's a monster. A monster. Chadwick and Scarlet screamed, clutching their heads as blood streamed from their eyes, ears, and noses. In my presence, their once proud power was as fragile as paper. I flicked my wrist. My ether formed a colossal hand that swatted them out of the sky like flies, sending the entire invading force flying over the Academy's mountain range. Get lost, I said. A single command, and the dark clouds overhead scattered. The crisis was over. Obsidian Ridge Academy held a massive victory celebration. In a single night, I had gone from the loser to the legend who had saved the Academy. Countless female students now had crushes on me, wanted to slip me love notes. But none of them dared, because the Ice Queen, Cassandra Vance, was shadowing my every move. On the main stage of the celebration, the dean was giving a passionate speech, but I was busy secretly holding Cassandra's hand. Senior, are you still mad that I hid my true strength from you? Cassandra turned her head away with a huff. Umph, you big liar. You were a top-tier powerhouse all along, pretending to be a nobody. You made me worry so much. I cried all my tears for you, but being protected by him feels really, really good. I smiled and suddenly snatched the microphone from the dean's hand. The entire audience fell silent. Excuse me, everyone, I said, looking out at the thousands of students and faculty. I have an announcement to make. I turned to face Cassandra. She seemed to realize what was happening, and her heart rate instantly shot through the roof. What is he doing? What is he doing? In front of everyone. Is he going to? I didn't wash my hair today. It's not greasy, is it? I dropped to one knee. In my hand, as if by magic, a ring appeared, one I had forged myself from a high-grade power crystal Chadwick had left behind. Cassandra Vance, I know I can hear your thoughts, but I'd much rather hear your voice. I held up the ring, my eyes burning with intensity. Will you let me listen to your wild and crazy thoughts for the rest of our lives? The crowd erupted, followed by a deafening chant of "Say yes. Say yes." Cassandra looked at the smiling young man before her, and tears streamed down her face. She didn't have to scream in her head anymore. She took the microphone and shouted the words she had held in her heart for so long. I will. Jax Ryder. You mine. Then, in front of the entire academy, the untouchable Ice Queen threw herself into my arms like a schoolgirl and gave me her lips. Finally, I got you. This time, no one has ever taken you away from me. So, can we start planning for babies tonight? I want 2. No, 3. Holding her in my arms, listening to that familiar, adorable voice in my head, I sent back a silent reply of my own. Yes, my love. The end.